Ride like a pro. Today I want to talk to you about a fundamental way that you can change the way you ride a bike that will massively and dramatically improve your fitness and your efficiency on the bike. Ride like a pro is literally copying the way the professionals ride their bike so that you can become more efficient on your bike. Now, I don't mean copy them in how hard they're going and their sort of length and the consecutive days they can do, because obviously they're professionals and we're not. But I mean copying the style of which they ride a bike in their endurance rides. Now, when we first start cycling, and we're pretty new to it, and I see it a lot with a lot of the youngsters I coach, and to be honest, people my age and in between who are picking up the bike for the first time or coming back to it again, most of us, myself included, don't really think about how we ride the bike. We just, if we've got 2 hours to do, we get on the bike and we go out and we batter through the lanes or batter up the hills. And especially on the hills, we go pretty hard and we sort of grind the gear and our legs hurt. And then we get to the top and we're out of breath and we freewheel down the other side. And then most of the time when we get to the flat, and I've seen it loads and loads of times, we don't really press on the pedals. And every opportunity people get, they're sort of freewheeling and they're not really riding a bike. Now, if you go out with the professionals and you're sat behind a professional, they ride in exactly the opposite way. What they do is they ride at a constant effort level. And when they get to the rises, instead of battering up it like you or I might, they back off. And they sort of go down into a smaller gear and they ride up that hill smoothly. But when they get to the top of that rise, they start clicking up the gears and they pick up the road speed and they keep the same pressure on the pedals. And then down the other side, as long as it's not too steep, they'll keep pedaling. And then when they get to the flat, they'll be keeping the pressure on the pedals. And it's pretty much the same pressure that they were riding the climb on. And what that does is it makes their rides much more efficient. Now, if you look at the way we ride in this very up and down, this staccato way, our power profile, if you could see how hard we were going at different parts of the ride, it would be very spiky. It would be hard on the climbs and it'd be zero when you're freewheeling down the hill and pretty easy on the flat. Whereas you look at the professionals, their ride is pretty much even all the time. Now, obviously, if the hill is steep, really steep going down, you've got a freewheel. Going through towns, you've got a freewheel. I'm not being absolutist about this, but generally, if you can ride in this efficient ride like a pro way, your rides become more efficient. And if you were to look at the sort of energy level or the power profile of their ride compared to our rides, theirs is smooth, ours is up and down, spiky, and all over the place. But they will have actually done more work because they would have spent more of their 2-hour ride pedaling. So if we're time crunched, we're trying to fit training in around school, around work, around family life, we've only got the evenings in the week to train and a couple of hours at the weekend to train, we might as well use every hour we've got available to our best advantage. So simply riding like a pro makes our time on the bike more useful because we do more work and therefore we get fitter, even without increasing the amount of time you're out on your bike during a week. That's one benefit. The other benefit is riding at this sort of constant endurance level on your longer rides is actually better for the body because it builds the endurance fitness. It changes the way your body operates. It changes you on a cellular level to build your endurance capacity, which is for most of us what we lack when we're trying to get ready for our big one day in the saddle, our one long sportive, our big charity ride, whatever it might be. That's the type of riding we want to do most because trust me, if you're out for your big 100-mile ride, 100-kilometer, 200-kilometer, whatever it might be, event in the summer, you can't batter around on those. You have to be riding smoothly. So you need your body to be prepared. And the way you do that is by riding at a constant, steady level. And the third thing it does is it actually helps us think about how we ride a bike. And that's hugely important because when we come to a rise, if we consciously have to back off, consciously have to go slower, consciously have to choose a smaller gear, we're actually thinking about how we're sat on the bike, how we're pedaling on a bike. And then when we're going down the other side, you consciously pedal whenever you can. You consciously pedal when you're on the flat, so your chain is tight and you've got a constant effort going. You're beginning to think about how you ride the bike. And that's great, because what it does is it makes you realize that you and your bike are a partnership. And instead of just plonking yourself on it and just battering away, you get on it and you think about it, and that very act of thinking about it makes you become a better bike rider. It probably improves your bike handling skills, because you're conscious of what, you're going faster around the bends and the lanes. It all adds up. So if you're consciously thinking about riding smoothly, riding like a pro, you're consciously thinking about how you're riding the bike. And that makes you a more versatile, a more robust, and a better, more efficient bike rider. So for me, change the way you ride a bike by thinking about it and riding like a pro. It has massive long-term endurance, fitness, and enjoyment benefits.